Zion Macy was shot in the face by a deputy in Springfield, Illinois. It seems history repeats itself. Joe James was caught in a white woman's bedroom. He got into a fight with her father. The father died. Joe James was lynched for the murder of that father. Maple Hallman said that George Richardson assaulted her, but later recanted her statement. Richard was acquitted and set free, but it led to Donegan and Scott Burton getting lynched. Here's a postcard that they had that shows where Scott Burton was hanged. Howard was said to have parts in the lynching of Scott Burton. When authorities came to pick her up, she took a bottle of poison and committed suicide. The NAACP was formed because of the Springfield race riot of 1908. The riot consisted of events of mass racial violence committed against African Americans by a mob of about 5,000 white Americans and Europeans in Springfield between August 14 and 16, 1908. The motive stems from false accusation, racial hoax, racial persecution, vigilantism, white supremacy. Number of participants, 5,000 whites. Victims, 2,000 black refugees. The cause was triggered by the transfer of a black prisoner charged with rape. The accusation later withdrawn. The riot was symptomatic of fears of racial equality in the North. The style of attack was arson, assault, battery, criminal intimidation, home invasion, larceny, lynching, destruction of a firefighter by cutting the firefighter hoses when they came to put out the fires, robbery, slashing, and vandalism. The weapons used were bricks, bats, clothesline, clubs, guns, razor, and torches. Deaths, 17, at least 8 black men, 1 black infant, 6 white mob participants. The victims were 2,000 black refugees, assailants, a white mob. There were 117 indictments, 1 conviction for a misdemeanor. Here's images of people chopping up a tree that Burton was lynched on. For credit to Chicago Tribune. Scott Burton was a 65-year-old man who had a barbershop that catered exclusively to white clientele. On August 17th, around 2:30 a.m., Burton had been at home with his family when the lynch mob, offering bounties of $25 for a nigga, approached his home and threatened him. He fired warning shots, and the mob rushed his home. The mob beat Burton until his head was a bloody, lacerated mass of flesh. While he was unconscious, they then tied a rope around his neck and dragged him to a tree near his barbershop as men and women spat on him. They then tied a rope around his neck. Grabbed a nearby clothesline and hanged him. After he was dead, the mob mutilated his body, riddled it with 30 bullets, slashing it with knives, and attempted to set it on fire. Children played with Burton's body, swinging it back and forth on the tree, while the mob shouted, "We've got one! Hooray! Look at that nigger swing!" Then they danced around it. The mob then burned down Burton's barbershop. Governor Denise said that Burton was responsible for his own death because he fired warning shots when the lynch mob approached his home. Father was sitting in the house with us when the mob came around the corner. Some of them came into the house, several of them struck him with bottles, and one man had an axe, which he hit him with. The men then took him out the house, and that is the last we saw